And what I heard from the very beginning was that we were going to collectively be downloading codexes through our gifts. So we had a contract, a lot of us who are key holders, code keepers, that we are either speaking, writing, or doing hand, light language, and even some of us are dancing the codes into Gaia. Greetings and welcome to Activations with JJ. I am so thrilled to have you here. And as you can see, this is a very special moment, the beginning of a new era, as I transition my podcast from audio only into this video format. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. I'm even a little bit nervous sitting here and recording this for the first time. I think back to 5 years ago when I first began, and I had no desire whatsoever to be in front of a camera. I felt very safe sharing my words and my channeled messages with zero photos of myself. I don't know how many of you have been following me for that long, but there was no idea of who JJ was. And here I am, ready to be seen in a different way. And I am so appreciative of each and every one of you who are here to support and celebrate this moment with me. So I'm just going to take a quick moment of gratitude and just feel stepping into this new era. Here we are in February 2025, this new style of monthly energy update that I'm bringing to you. And there are so many incredible energies coming forward for February. I know that January was much more intense than most of us anticipated, myself included. Of course, because I'm based in LA, I absolutely felt just the waves of emotion and the loss, the devastation that occurred due to the fires there. I know that those of you who are in other areas of the world experiencing the same thing know what I mean. Interestingly enough, I just really felt from everybody across the world who was reaching out to me that what was happening in Los Angeles was more than what it seemed at face value with regards to the way that it was symbolic of a shift. And I am so grateful for all of the beautiful leadership, the spiritual leaders and teachers who are based in LA, who many of them lost their homes, that they came forward and they were able to give us a perspective in the midst of loss. It just blows my mind. In the midst of a complete loss of everything they had, they were able to reflect to us that there was a deeper meaning behind what was going on. And so here we are again in February after that very, very intense, the planetary alignment on the 25th. Oh my goodness. I had no idea that that was also going to be a big moment for us. And then there was a political event that took place in the middle of January that I know was also a big thing. And there's just lots of energies in January. So again, I'm excited for February. I'm excited because of this new format. I think there's something symbolic about what I'm doing. And the themes for February are incredible. Now, I want to remind you that there is an overarching theme for the entire year that came forward in 3 words. And as I have moved forward after first channeling those words at the very beginning of January, I have come to understand that they are keys. They are keys to opening a new era for Earth. As light workers, we sort of planted these little words and these little keys, kind of like Easter eggs. And we knew that when they came forward, it was time to say, go team. And so this set of 3 words, I've been told, is like a combination on a lock. It's going to unlock huge awakening, awareness, transformation for all of us collectively, in particular way showers and light workers on the planet. And so if you already know those words, you can say them with me, but I am going to repeat them again. Open, reclaim, restore. And say it with me again. Open, reclaim, restore. Now, sit with those words. Let the energy drop into your body. Take a deep breath. What does that feel like to you? Is there a soul recognition with those words coming forward? I can definitely feel it. And now I'm excited to dive into the themes for February 2025. But before I do, I want to remind you that this month, February, I have a couple of incredible events that are going to come to fruition that you are able to co-create in. And one of them is multidimensional soul integration. And I will talk about that in just a moment. But what has been coming forward in that modality that about 3 years ago, my guides gave me the title of and said, this is a modality you're going to channel. And I said, what? A modality? Like, I'm not a person to need to be doing that. And I knew that it was on my heart. It was part of my soul mission to do it. And here we are today. And it has absolutely been a catalyst for expansion for so many souls across the planet, and people are being certified in the modality now. And I actually feel like the energy of the modality is also rippling throughout the subconscious of the collective and helping everybody expand. And whether it's my modality or your modality, we are all bringing through this information, these new forms of quantum leaping so that we can transition into that higher octave. Now, that starts on February 15th. In addition to that, I have a couple of spots left in our Joshua Tree Quantum Restoration Retreat. If you heard me talk about that last month, this was absolutely something that I felt I wanted myself. And I know that so many of you light workers out there after January have felt the need for some restoration. In fact, as you can see, it was one of the words: open, reclaim, restore. So that word restoration and the quantum level restoration in the sacred lands of Joshua Tree is what felt so aligned for me to provide for a certain number of light workers out there. So if you haven't heard of that and you want to find out more, you can check out the links in the show notes and join us there. Now, I do want to make sure that I mention, because it's actually something that's coming up really, really soon, and I'm really excited about. I haven't shared on the podcast in its fullness yet. I've said a few little hints about it, but we do have our Keys of Teotihuacan. That is a grid work expedition. This is not a quantum restoration retreat. This isn't a mission. This is like Indiana Jones mission, okay? And my husband and I, along with two beautiful friends from Mexico City, will be leading this amazing adventure that your inner child is going to love. So if you are connected to Thoth, if you feel like you are a key code keeper or timekeeper, we need you to join us. We know and have felt the souls already gathering. There are a few spots left, and we felt the team gathering. And this is how it's going to be all year. This is a template that I'm going to follow the entire year. So that being said, those are the exciting and upcoming events for February and into March. And let's dive into the topics for February 2025. So as a reminder, the way that I set up the themes for the energy update, I tune into the collective energies, and I always remind you that it's important for you to actually tune in yourself and receive your own personal themes. So know and understand that some of these themes may resonate and apply to you, and some of them may not. Be in your sovereignty as you receive these and determine what you'd like to choose and to integrate. And then, maybe some of this stuff doesn't apply to you. The way that I also set them up is with 4 separate topics. And the reason I do that is because, if you didn't already know, I do 4 separate gatherings every single week, unless there's a 5th one. But every Sunday, I do a gathering with our community. One of those is actually free to the public. That one is the 4th Sunday of every month, our Starseed Connection Circle. And each of the themes matches up to the themes of the community gatherings. So the first week of the month, we typically focus on our individual ascension journey. So I'll talk about that here in topic number 1. The second week of the month, we focus on light language. The third week, we talk about grid work. And the 4th is that Starseed Connection Circle. So topic number 1 is all about our individual ascension. And the thing that's going to come forward on your individual ascension journey this month is golden and solar ray soul aspect integration. It was interesting as I was tuning in, because as you heard me say, this month, February, I will be doing a cohort for multidimensional soul integration. So my guides were like, well, you're doing a soul integration because the main theme for that is going to be solar ray and golden energies. Now, this is kind of a broad terminology, and I've been talking about this for a long time. We've had the golden avians, we've had the golden seraphim, but the word that they wanted to use was that golden and solar ray. Now, I go into lots more detail about this topic in our community gathering, but for now, I just want you to sit with that idea and tune into your body right now and see how your body responds as we are feeling into the energy of the potential soul integration. Now, as a reminder, a soul integration is going to be like essentially downloading another part of your higher self. So that's kind of what you can envision is a golden aspect of yourself. And just closing your eyes in your mind's eye, imagining that. Then I feel lots of golden dragons, lots of solar dragons coming forward. And they're very excited, very excited. This is not a serious endeavor. This is actually an effervescent, bubbly, fun energy coming forward. And one of the recommendations that they are having as I'm tuning in for this topic is that you absolutely allow yourself to receive the rays of the sun. Now, I know we're in winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and that's not always possible, but you can go on a walk, bundle up if there's sun, and just even get that sun on your face. If possible, travel somewhere that's warm. They're also recommending that in order to facilitate the integration of these golden ray, solar ray aspects, I'm hearing citrus. I've been hearing citrus for a long time, and it's funny because I live in California and we have all of the citrus trees right now that we have access to. And so it's really interesting that all of this citrus is coming. So anybody can get citrus anywhere in the world at this point, right? We can all get citrus. And so I'm seeing like, even for some reason, they're showing me citrus teas with honey. I've been really feeling that, like citrus teas with honey and honey. Get the best quality honey that you can get. Activate that honey. And they're reminding me of how last month, I believe it was, that we were encouraged to draw more. And all of you know that I lost my voice for like 2 months. And that I was channeling more light codes written. And so I'm hearing and I'm seeing like a honey jar, and I'm seeing light codes written on the honey jar. Like you could tape them to it. You can do this with water. You can do this with any food. But that's what I'm feeling to support you through this golden and solar ray soul aspect integration. Now, if you are new to my channel and you've never heard me talk about multidimensional soul integration, you have no idea what this is, check the link in the show notes that says, for more about multidimensional soul integration, because I have a couple of podcasts about it, as well as a video on the website, the landing page for the offer. I do have information about what multidimensional soul integration is. And I've been compiling so much over this last year. It's expanding all the time. It's absolutely just opening to us in ways that I never even thought possible when I first started doing it. So it's very fun. And like I said, the energy that's coming forward with these solar ray aspects is a lot of fun. You know who else is coming in, just as a side note before I move into topic number 2, is the solar ray fairies. The solar ray fairies. So let's tune into them as well, because I think that's where that lightness, that effervescence, and bubbly energy is coming from. So just tuning in, and if you have light language coming through, beautiful. Taking a deep breath. Thank you to all the solar dragons, the solar fairies that came forward to introduce us to that topic. I will be diving into that much more in our starseed community. So remember, if you want to go deep with us, you can join the community, and we would love to see you there. All right, let's move on. Topic number 2, and as I mentioned, this one is connected to light language, is angelic codexes, as well as golden grid and golden grid template activation. So the interesting thing about the way that the starseed community evolved is that I began with grid work, And then I felt like I needed to broaden the community to call more in. And so we merged Star Mothers Worldwide with my Starseed Gridwork community to create the Starseed community, which feels, again, just like kind of like more broad, more general. But I incorporated light language into that. And what I heard from the very beginning was that we were going to collectively be downloading codexes through our gifts. So we had a contract, a lot of us who are key holders, code keepers, that we are either speaking, writing, or doing hand, light language, and even some of us are dancing the codes into Gaia. So what popped in, and I know this because over the last like 3 or 4 weeks, so much angelic energy was coming through, and I was like, what is going on? And I see this when I do one-on-one sessions. This is one of the reasons I still do one-on-one sessions, because I'm getting a lot of feedback from the collective around these themes. So I kept having angels coming in, and they're actually connected to topic number 1 because there's a lot of solar angel energy. But the idea is that there are angelic codexes or sets of codes that are open to us now. And what are these codes for? Well, they're keys to open things, to open frequencies. And it was funny because the other day I was driving and I started considering the idea of a key keeper and a code keeper and keys and codes. And I was like having a conversation with Spirit. I was like, what's the difference? What's the difference? And I just immediately knew that like they're kind of sometimes the same. And key is like key as in music. And so that was funny because, again, the angelic codexes, as I tuned in, I was like, okay, so we have more of the galactic code, well, you could say codexes, Akashic records, being accessed right now. In fact, it was really incredible because in our January grid work for the Starseed community, which the playback is in the portal, if you join the community, you can listen to this. We were working with opening Lyran stargates and transmitting. Some of us were transmitting, some of us were receiving Lyran templates. And so that's what's happening on the galactic side. Well, Lyran was a stair step, and that's why we did the Lyran, and we're actually still doing it. It's almost over, but we're doing the Lyran lineage reconciliation. In fact, honestly, if you still want to pop into that, I highly recommend it. We're literally right in the middle of it, but it's a stair step into more of the solar and the angelic frequencies because we're calibrating. We're not just going to throw in the highest frequency stuff down to earth. They're like, no, we got to get you guys ready. It's not comfortable that way. So here we are, having evolved a little bit, and we have these angelic codexes ready to be anchored into Gaia. This is a team effort. This is absolutely something that we all play a role in some way, shape, or form, especially if you are predominantly an angelic starseed. Now, if you're wondering what that means, I know that's a whole other subject. I have a podcast about it, and I'll share the link below, because if you got a ping when I said angelic starseed, whoa, that's me, then you definitely want to listen to that other podcast episode. But either way, these angelic codexes, and I thought are here and are ready to be anchored into Gaia. What I actually wanted to do right now, live for you, is to tune in and to ask a little bit more. So as I'm tuning in, I'm kind of approaching it like I would as I tune into the Akashic records. And I've been to a place that's like the angelic Akashic records, but when I said that word, they said, well, that's not the most accurate way to see it because it's different than Akashic records for like the more physical timelines, physical beings, physical places. The angelic realms are not locational in the way that some of the galactic Akashic records are. And they don't reflect the same kind of templates, information. So what I'm hearing is more abstract is what they're saying. You may want to tune in with me and just see what's coming through your own channel. That's why I always recommend if you join my podcast, have a notebook nearby because you're probably going to get your own downloads. Now, I'll tell you a few things about the angelic records, or I guess I should say the angelic frequencies in general. First of all, they come through as music. And sometimes that music is so high-pitched, I cannot channel angelic light language with my human voice. The closest we can come is truly a choir singing. And that's why people say so many times when they hear singers, that's so angelic. It seriously is. The written angelic language is very much reflected in music notes and the music staff and the music symbols, who I actually don't personally know the origin of all of that. I should have researched it before I did, but I didn't know that was going to come up today. But I do know and can tell you right now that I feel that those people were inspired by angelic beings to bring this music frequency to the planet. So as I'm tuning in to what this angelic codex is, it's almost like they're telling me there are more notes for you to play with now. And what's popping in my mind, and many of you know that I really am a big fan of Jacob Collier. Jacob Collier is what you could call like a musical genius. He is a musical prodigy. He's fairly young. He's not even 30 yet. And he has just really anchored in some incredibly powerful high frequency music through music theory and chords and chord progressions. And he's literally at the cutting edge of music production, bringing these sounds in. And then he creates human choirs at all of his concerts where we are all basically turning into angels, singing and activating. And what I'm hearing is they're telling me it's kind of like what he does, is that these new frequencies are coming in. And I've heard this before with colors. I was told that we are absolutely anchoring in the new earth different colors that we've never had on our color spectrum. So it's very similar, different notes and frequencies that we've never had musically. But this is what this angelic codex is. I wonder, I'm just going to put this out there, if those of you who write music or channel music in some way, shape, or form, whether digitally or on an instrument or singing, have a role to play in this. I actually believe that you might. Although those of you who channel written, also open. I have an incredible person in our starseed community, Joe. She's kind of, it's her turn. It's her term. I always change out during different terms to give different people opportunities. She is our resident light code channeler, and she's actually channeled light codes for all of the themes I'm telling you about right now. And if you join the community, you'll see all of her beautiful light codes. They're super activating. So right now, just taking a moment, taking a deep breath to anchor this theme in as we transition into the second part of the theme. So we've got the angelic codexes, and I'm going 1,000 miles a minute, so I'm going to ground for a second. It must be being on camera. It's very activating being on camera. Golden grid. I know that the angelic codex is connected to activating and anchoring in additional parts of our golden grid template, so that, well, essentially you've got the template, and then the template is activated as the grid. Are you a golden grid template keeper? Think about that for a moment. Archangel Michael has stepped forward to assist with this, as well as Archaea Faith. And if you feel a little ping when I say that, it could be because that is part of your team, and you are on that, in that particular group that has an assignment with the golden grids. Not only, and I will add this as a little tiny last thing before we move on to topic number 3, not only are we anchoring in that golden grid on the planet, but we are absolutely doing it on a personal level, at a quantum level. Your body is anchoring in a golden grid. So that is topic number 2. Again, that's angelic codexes and golden grids, golden grid templates. Let's move on to topic number 3. So topic number 3, as I mentioned, has to do with grid work. And there are 2 themes with it, just like there were 2 themes for the other one. Sorry, I break rules all the time. It's 2 topics. The first one has to do with what I talked about in theme number 1 for us individually. Gaia is absolutely mirroring what we're going through. So for the planetary grid work piece, it's all about solar light body. And for her, it's a little bit different than an integration, but it's a solar light body activation. And I heard the word plasma in there. Now, I talked about this for us even just in December. So she, as I was tuning, I was like, what does Gaia need? What is our grid work task? And I just heard she needs assistance assistance, I should say, with her solar plasma light body activation. And you guys know, sometimes when I'm here in the podcast and I'm sharing these themes, I don't know everything about them yet. It's fun in the community, and that's why I'm so glad I have it, because in those weekly meetings, we get to dive really, really deep. However, I have no doubt that even just sharing that with you, so many of you are getting like a ding, 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 ding all over the place. So I encourage you to dive into the idea of how you can assist Gaia with that. I will also tune in just a moment after I've told you subtopic B. I will tell you what's coming through my channel, because I want to share that. And I always feel this collective energy when I'm recording the podcast, and I love to tune in. But so the second part of this topic is actually connected to what I talked about in January. So if you remember, one of the topics for January was all about collaboration and co-creation and cooperation. And it had to do with reconciling ourselves with humanity, literally loving the other human beings on this planet, which I know shouldn't even be a topic. Like, how is that even a topic? It should go without saying. But it really came forward with the fires in Los Angeles. It was modeled for us in so many ways. All of the donation centers were flooded with donations. Now, I know it's not like that in all parts of the world, and I know there are tragedies that go overlooked. I empathically sense that and understand that, but I do know that as we witness that occurring over here, then it will reflect somewhere else. I believe that it will absolutely have a ripple effect in that. So the idea for Gaia with regards to grid work was interesting. Okay, follow. I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here. The idea was nation to nation reconciliation. And it also goes, honestly, everything is a mirror. It's all over the place with my Orion and Lyran lineage reconciliation. Because I asked and I knew, I was like, okay, we did Orion lineage reconciliation in December. We are just in the middle of doing Lyran lineage reconciliation. In both of those courses, whether you're listening to this, whenever, they're available. Like, I want people to have access to them after the fact. But it's like, okay, now that we've done that, now we're going to be working at a little bit micro level here with the nations. And if you come to the community, you will see in our grid work gathering, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to lead us through a grid work journey with nation to nation reconciliation. And it's a rhyme. I know, it's fun. Our inner children are like, he, JJ just said a poem. Nation to nation reconciliation. I'll just sing it. But anyhow, so I know that it'll have something to do with energetically repairing wounding between nations. Now, here's the funny thing. Some of you know me and have known me for a while and have heard me say this, but I have an interesting background. If you're like me, you've had multiple lifetimes in one lifetime. I feel like I've lived so many different things. I've had so many different jobs in the midst of all that I've been doing. And my original career, and I remember being probably 16 and knowing this is what I wanted to do, was international relations. I have my bachelor's degree in international relations with an emphasis on Latin American studies, which is really funny because here I am facilitating grid work with nation to nation reconciliation. And I always thought that I didn't feel like I would be in politics. I felt like I would be in diplomacy, and I am in diplomacy, but more like on a galactic level. So with those two topics in mind, let's tune in together and feel into the energetics of the topic, feel into your specific role for the idea of the solar plasma light body activation for Gaia and or the nation to nation reconciliation. Where do you fit into that grid work? I definitely feel a group of a council. It's a council of reconciliation. It feels pretty earthy, but there's a galactic vibe to it. Utanari utatia bori tanashti takosha It feels feminine. I do feel a lot of Star Mother energy for that. It's like, make peace. Now, Yashitara Korokuyana Kara Iatukush, Iatkosh. Ooh, they're just bringing activation. They're like, you don't need to talk about it, JJ. Just let it in. Through the crown here. I believe that we're also receiving solar light, like solar plasma light body activation through this. And of course, I will be publishing and uploading a transmission to go with the monthly themes. And that one is a solar plasma light body activation for you. I do feel that solar plasma light body activation that we are assisting Gaia with, and that if we're receiving it too, it's preparation for the golden and solar ray soul aspects. We have soul aspects. Gaia has soul aspects. It's all preparation and calibration to fully download those templates and those soul aspects. That's what I'm getting immediately. Tuning into the nation-to-nation reconciliation. Has anybody kept track of how many times I've said that so far? It's definitely ancestral. It's Earth Mothers and Earth Fathers. Like leaders of the tribes, of the ancient tribes, of the peoples. Lemuria. Okay. They're reminding me that this theme came through last year. Yes, it did come through last year. I believe it was last year. And what happened is we had them step forward. This might have come forward in an offering. There's so much content that I do that I can't always keep track, but there was something I did last year. Okay. Somebody maybe remember this. Put it in the comment section if you do. And I am hearing that they were teaching us, this might have been the September monthly energy update, where we were being invited to community. That's right. Okay. Tribe to tribe, community to community, nation to nation. Like it starts with just that level and then it expands. It ripples out. So if you want to see changes in the way that nations deal with each other, take a look at how you deal with your neighbors. We feel so disempowered sometimes when it comes to making a difference on the planet at that level. Like, I'm not a politician. I don't vote. I'm not a policymaker. I'm not a billionaire, whatever, who you think is running these nations that are creating these issues. But to reclaim a sense of power that we are making a difference in the world with our tiny actions. Because the way this matrix works, and I'm not talking about the matrix that we don't want, I'm talking about this holographic reality. The way this holographic reality works, it's coded to be so intertwined that, like the butterfly effect, even the wings of the butterfly flapping are making a difference. So there's this feeling that an encouragement from our guides that we need to reclaim, there's the word, reclaim the awareness of our power. It's like the power's there, you just forgot it was. Interesting. So funny. It's not reclaiming our power, it's reclaiming the awareness that the power is already there. Think about that. That's interesting. Okay. Let's transition into topic number 4. So topic number 4 is one that applies to the broader, just general themes of the month. And this one is actually quite connected to topic number 3, but it's co-creation and collaboration with compassion. Also very poetic, I know. And as I was channeling this information, which again, in the Starseed Connection Circle for February, which you can sign up for right there below in the link, and it is free to anybody. I would love to have, we have over 100 people joining us. I'd love to have 200, 300. We can do so much. But Kuan Yin came forward with the compassion piece. And what I'm feeling is the invitation for us to see others with more compassion. Like I said in topic number 3, whether it's your neighbor right next door to you, whether it's somebody you're walking down past in the street, whether it is somebody at the grocery store, somebody you see on social media that is a little sandpapery to you, whoever and whatever it is, it's just inviting us to be more compassionate. Now, let me remind you that quite often when we are not able to access compassion for others, it's because there's an inner thing going on that we are needing to look at maybe a little bit more deeply. Where are we not being self-compassionate? So I don't want us to bypass being compassionate for others and not having compassion for ourselves. Let's sort of approach this topic from both within and without. That would be the invitation. Okay? And like I've been saying over and over and over again, even last month, find opportunities to be active in your community. Can't believe how many rhymes are coming in this time. I must be being inspired by my friend Sabrina, who is our resident poet in the starseed community. Yes, you heard me. We have a resident poet and a resident light code channeler in the community. It's so fun how we're building out this community. She creates a poem every single month that she shares in the community monthly energy update. But community. Oh, just settling. I'm hearing settling. Settle, dear ones. Settle in to your body. Settle into your body. Have compassion for your body, for the body of humans, for the collective of humans upon this planet. Have compassion. The world is not going to get worse if we increase the amount of compassion and reduce the amount of judgment that we are passing on other people, not understanding their situations, their circumstances. Absolutely understand that people tend to behave according to what they believe. So you know, there's behavior that is hard to excuse, and there's behavior that people need to be held accountable for. But to go and understand why is the perspective that we're being invited to take. Now, there's a different flavor of this for each and every one of you. And that's why last month in my reel, we were recommended to stay in our lane. Because you will notice other people doing other things that maybe aren't your vibe. All right? But we can still understand that each of us is playing our role for a reason. And it's very fascinating as we navigate the transition from duality to unity consciousness. Everybody has their role that they're playing. Some of us are still anchoring into the duality. Some of us are fully in the unity consciousness, and some of us are bridges that are going back and forth. And I know it can get a little tiring to go back and forth like that. What I'm hearing is we're transducers. Oh, this word came last month and in the month before. It came in sessions, and I'm like, why are we using the word transducer? I had to have my son, who's like an electrical engineer, explain to me transduction. And I was like, oh, that's why we are, I see electrical currents like going back and forth, weaving together and bridging this period of duality with this period of this frequency of unity consciousness. And we're being reminded not to get frustrated when everything isn't the way we know it could, should, would be. Look at your records, they say. Look at your records. Go to your records. Why are we not spending more time in our records? We left ourselves instructions on how to do this. We left ourselves instructions on our specific roles. There are so many resources out there for how to get through, and quote unquote read your records. There are lots and lots of ways to do that. But that's just an invitation I want to leave for you here at the end. I could even do better at it. I better as in I could go deeper in my own records. This is why, when was this? The same reel. Was this the same reel? I think it was, where I talked about staying in your lane. Own your mission and your identity as a way shower, a light worker, a grid worker, a key keeper. Like, own who you are fully. If you don't know who you are, it's hard to own who you are. That's why step 1 has to be go to the records. They are not closed to you. Do you know how many people I heard say that my records are closed to me? I'm like, your records are literally in your body. They're part of you. They're built into you. Rebuild your relationship with your physical body, and you will be able to access your records more easily. 100%. I'm getting feisty now. It's even like making my microphone wiggle. Okay, my friends, we're at the end. I promise. Wow. I feel so honored that you were here to witness this very first video podcast I've ever done. Ever done. And I'm feeling just huge waves of love and receiving it. Like, I'm feeling it from you. I'm feeling it. And I'm just so grateful for you. Let's take a deep breath. And now I'm getting emotional because I get to share these beautiful words with you that I've shared with you time and time again, just on audio. I get to look you in the eyes, and I get to share not just with my voice, but with my countenance, with all of my body, that I am sending you so much love. Can you feel it? I am sending you so much love. And I am you, and you are me, and we are we. And so it is. Until next time.